Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Mike Armstrong podcast show. And this afternoon, I'm joined by Paul Rees, who's from Accolade Executive Business Coaching. And we're going to have a little chat about business and just life in general. How are you doing today, Paul? You okay?
Yeah, it's been a good day, man. It's been a really interesting day, and when the sun is shining, it's always a good day.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I've learned not to get too dependent on the weather for my feelings these days because living in Wales, you can't build yourself up. But if the sun is shining, you always feel good, and if the sun is not shining, then you have to make yourself feel good anyway because that's the norm.
So true, so true. But I'm a big fan of all the seasons. I like the rain because it gives us green. I like the snow because it gives us something different to visualize on. I like the wind. It's got character. So I'm a big fan of all the seasons. I've been to many parts of the world where they don't have seasons, and I tell you what, it's not the same. It's not the
No,
same.
no, I get that, and especially when it's sunny all the time, sun loses its impact then. So at least we appreciate it when it's sunny. But I'm a sun worshipper myself. I just wish it was sunny every day. But in my world, anyway, in my head, it is sunny every day. The usual place I start with these chats is about lockdown because it's always one of the big things of the time.
Yeah.
So how has lockdown been for you, and have you done any pivoting in your business during that time?
Well, it is one of my favorite subjects right now because it's boring. A lot of people are fed up in talking about, COVID and post-COVID and things. But I'm going to say that I'll answer that in two ways. The first way is it has probably been the best shift in business in decades. The whole business world was stuffed in a very repeated way of doing business, which is work, 1,000 hours a week. This is what you should be doing. And really not utilizing the technology. I mean, you have here, the amount of clients that I've worked with that have never used Zoom, which is insane. Zoom, Skype, and all the other stuff. So in that sense, the disruption that's created is going to remove the library of information that we've got from post-COVID, pre-COVID, and now replace with a new way of doing business. In this new era of the world being as much, it was a small place anyway, but the world is on a pinhead right now, and I love it. I love it, and the sad part is there's going to be a lot of grieving business owners and a lot of grieving businesses that want to go back to pre-COVID, and then it's going to be and those who thrive will really appreciate the change now and how we got to pivot, as you say. Going into COVID, man, my business was pulled out the wall overnight. Although 95% of my work is remote anyway, we do nothing face-to-face as such. But still, the financial runways of businesses, being that we are, a large part of our work is US, everybody kind of put everything on hold. And we were lucky, of course, we had a lot of help from the government in the UK, so that helped us a lot to sustain our runway. But I think what we decided was that we wanted to become more, connected to our clients coming post-COVID. So we decided to switch the whole business where we become in partners with our clients rather than be an invoice to our clients. So effectively what we've done is we're creating a new package, or involved in that new package already, where it's a small retainer, but we actually focus on the percentage of profits at the end of the year as a business owner or a partner, a shareholder, and then that's how we get effectively get our invoice paid. So now we have to make that business make money, or we don't get paid. So it's a whole different process, and that way we find that it becomes more personal, we're more involved, and we have more of an emotional investment into business, as well as, of course, financial investment. So for us, Mike, that approach has really transformed our business in a new direction. And again, the whole COVID thing has been one hand, one side of the hand, man, what a nuisance. The other side of the hand is, thank goodness it happened. In the business way, I don't mean the grieving part of the country where people lost, relatives and friends, we know all about that, but on a business sense, I was only talking to, I did an interview this morning with Lara Morgan, one of our, very established millionaires in this country in business, and she shared the same thoughts. It's the best disruption the global business community has had in decades.
Yeah, I couldn't agree any more, really, because lockdown for me has been great. Luckily, I've not been touched or impacted by anyone at all that I know that have, had the worst consequences of COVID, if you like. I have been caring for my dad and his girlfriend for all the time since lockdown because they're shielding. So I've got my own, impact, if you like. But for me, I was living the life of COVID, the lockdown, before for the last 8 years anyway, working from home, using all technology and utilizing that whenever I can and all of that. And my job as a sales and marketing consultant advisor and a business growth consultant advisor was trying to get people to get online and use technology in a much better way, if you like. And COVID come along and did a much better job than I could and getting these people on much quicker. Like, you know what I mean? They did the job for me. I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? I was dragging people, kicking and screaming, into the 21st century, and COVID just forced them in, like, and there's like, oh, happy days. Now I can work with them because they all started to do online stuff and podcasting and YouTubing and social media and all the stuff I've been trying to convert people to do for years. It's like all of a sudden they're doing it all. It's like, oh, thank you from the gods, like,
And yeah, I mean, what I love about it is that everybody's migrated, or the large population has migrated into Zoom, and we were for many years suffering through Skype because everybody, they knew Skype but didn't know Zoom, and so business people all the same through Skype, but now everybody's done that switch. And Zoom, have really upped their game. I mean, they have upped their game. They have kept up. Bless them. They had a, it was a fair job.
Yeah,
and
they had a wonky bit in the beginning, but
truly. But I believe what's going to happen is over the next 6 to 12 months, these Zoom calls where we are doing this sit-down operation together will be considered a very lazy Zoom call. I believe people are going to start to be really artistic in their Zoom culture. And we're going to see some amazing, I'm going to say setups. It's not just going to be the one camera. I mean, we have a film room here. And our middle office is purely for filming on Zoom. So we have like 2 or 3 cameras set up in there anyway. And, and all the digital equipment, digital boards and things. And I believe that's going to really sort of migrate into people's imagination. And the Zoom call is going to be an active Zoom call, not a sit down passive thing like people are doing all the time.
Yeah.
And utilize it better, especially like, when you go networking, people are still not utilizing the biggest opportunity with Zoom yet, where you could do,
the chats, the one-on-one is good with the Zoom.
At
networking events. I've started doing that, but you don't get a lot of people doing it. But if you have those follow-up calls during the chat, well, I do quite a lot. I book a lot of my podcast meetings. I think I might have even booked the one with you. Or I got your mobile number and then sent you through to follow up. I think getting people educated on how to utilize the chat while they're doing the calls with multiple people. Obviously, when you're one-on-one, you don't necessarily need the chat. But also things like the background, the branding. I'm going to be coming up with branding boards, so people can sponsor the video content that goes out. So I've already thought of that. So I think you're right. I think you're 100% on it. Like, you're right with what's going to be going on. And also, I think there's going to be some challenges to the Zoom empire.
Yeah, there has to be, because people are going to want to stretch what Zoom can do. You can create your group rooms and things like this now where you can share people out, but that's just not enough to what people are going to be looking for. And, we use, like, we've got a split screen here, but I split the screen again because I have a whiteboard on me, so you have several cameras and things. But I think that people are going to be almost creating their own kind of tours on Zoom whilst doing Zoom calls. You're going to see movement going in the background. You're going to see the business. You're going to see drop downs. You're going to see text. You're going to see, images, just like a PowerPoint going behind you. Why not? When you're going a 2-minute networking call, why are you using your 2 minutes to talk when you can talk and throw some really imaginative, full screen images at people by saying to the Zoom leader, share my screen for 2 minutes. I've got something to show everybody. And in that 2 minutes is powerful message, because when this way of communicating is so passive. We sit down to relax, then we're open to gain energy to talk. It's insane. It's a contradiction. It's like trying to keep it, it's like, I know, making a book waterproof. It's not possible. And that's why I think Zoom is going to completely change over the next 12 months, where it'll become a very active call, not a sit-down passive call. And that's what's needed. My job is like our job here is to give each other energy, give each other the best of who we are. What are our bragging rights? I have a poor backdrop because that's my office. But I don't want it to be digital. I want something real behind me. So what am I giving you? What's the best of me? That's what Zoom is. That's what's going to change in Zoom, with some really imaginative ideas over the next 12 months.
Yeah, well, I think creativity definitely always impacts. That's the reason. I've got about probably not 500, probably about 200 different backgrounds which I can choose from for my interviews, because I'm very conscious of being different and standing out. So that's one reason why I use a background, because I'm from a marketing background. I understand marketing and standing out. It's the reason why I use pink, by the way, as well, because pink's a color that stands out. But also I've got a range of them. So when you've got a YouTube channel, you've got loads of videos, you don't want them all to look the same. So obviously I interview different people and I have different backgrounds, and I think that's the start of what you say. The start of that creativity. It's just the same as like with Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all these sort of places. They all started off with very little content and little creativity, but they've all developed into worlds of mass content, and TikTok's doing the same now. It's developing and growing on and going in different directions, and that's as people get more creative and the functionality becomes bigger. I think what they're probably sticking to Zoom is what they started doing with the FaceTimes, with all those funny faces and the emotives, and that'll probably all go in there as well. So you can, at the moment, I think you can just clap somebody, but soon there'll be the fuller range of emotions, and that's probably a direction it'll go in.
Yeah, and I think there'll be. I think if we look at the idea of Zoom, the new smoking is actually sitting. So they're saying that sitting down is now the new smoking in business. In effect, that's how unhealthy it is for you. So Zoom is going to have to, introduce a method or a methodology that's going to get people out of the chair and become active on a Zoom call, where there's movement. And that's going to be a big thing, because Zoom has got to, it doesn't want to be branded as being an unhealthy, piece of software to use where you sit down hour after hour after hour. So Zoom is going to have to put something in place and say, okay, guys, we can get you up. We've now got this facility where you can move around. It'll follow you, whatever it may be. But there's going to be some kind of change where I get out of my chair, and as I move, Zoom moves with me. And I can
it's a bit like the Facebook thing, isn't it? Is that Facebook app which they stick in the room and it follows you around the room, and that was designed to allow people, families, if you like, and so like the grandkids could dance in front of their parents or whatever, rather than it being a static Zoom. So I think that's already there, if you like, and I think it's where the Facebook beats Zoom to take over that space, or whether Zoom adapts that functionality to compete with Facebook. It's it's that interesting battle at the moment of who's the strongest will survive, sort of thing, like.
And if we go back to where we were originally with the conversation, which is for the likes of myself, who was a remote business, yourself was a remote business, this is like, man, this is great news, I mean, as you say, COVID has done it all for us. It's forced the companies to improve on the very thing that we rely on, and that's, a remote business, a remote client. I don't want anybody coming into my office. I have no interest. Don't put networking back face-to-face again. No. I thrive on networking being on Zoom. I don't want to spend 2 hours driving somewhere for a 2-minute elevator pitch to drive back after some stodgy breakfast.
I don't mind doing that, because I like to go for a beer with people after. So and I'll still be doing that. But from an efficiency point of view, I've gone from doing 2 real world networking events a week to doing 8 virtual ones a week.
Come on, isn't it? This is why it's a healthier environment now, where we're actually more lifestyle. Where a business is designed to give you lifestyle and financial independence, and now it's giving you the time to do that. We don't have, I was only talking to Lara Morgan this morning. I said maybe we should put a goal in and say, okay, so for the next 12 months, we're saying to the world, a business day is no longer 12, 14 hours. You're only allowed 6 hours in a business day. And I bet you...
That'd be great. The whole world would be much happier.
But I bet they'll still make it.
It won't affect their performance. I've been a massive fan for a long time of the 4-day week, the 3-day weekend. I think 5 and 2 is a poor ratio. It's not a good ratio. I'm a workaholic. Yeah. And I would still work. I work 7 days a week at the moment, like, you know, but I work in when I want to, just like, you know, I don't want to sit down on Zooms all day. So at some point, if I got an hour window, I go out on my bike. You know what I mean? So I'm working and I'm living at the same time. It's blended. Yeah. But I want the opportunity to extend my weekend and have 3 days off if I want to, even though I will work all of the time. Yeah. But I just think for the majority of people, most people, like Monday morning could be scrapped, Friday afternoon could be scrapped in most businesses. Yeah. They're non-productive. Yeah. So get rid of them. You know, you got your 4 days then. Yeah. And,
where you gone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. You lost me, have you?
There I am, man. Yeah, here I am. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, I personally believe, as somebody who used to run sales teams, I knew my sales team wouldn't sell anything on a Monday morning, and they wouldn't sell much on a Friday afternoon unless it was end of month, and then they would have to sell on a Friday afternoon. But most of the time, they want to go to the pub at 3 o'clock. They're already there in their brain. You know what I mean? So you're paying them for extra hours. They're not doing anything anyway. So just condense it into 4 weeks. Give them the same amount of targets. Give them the extra day off. They'll be less burnt out and better longer term. And nothing, you know, everyone will be happier and the world will be more productive. That's my own personal view.
You know, Mike, you're absolutely right, you know, because I've worked with clients where, you know, because soft skills, of course, is my power ingredient. That's what our business is. We focus on soft skills. We design and build formulas into businesses with people that create what we call an edge of brilliance efficiency. So effectively, we've watched so many business, you know, create a 12-hour day in an 8-hour day. Effectively getting 12 hours and 8 hours in an 8-hour day out of those individuals for this reason that you're saying, you know, look after them, understand the dips and the efficient hours of the day, of the week, and focus on that. And you know, those businesses have increased profitability in 4 days over a 6-day week. You know, it's doable. It so is.
Yeah. Well, I say to people, like, why employ somebody who's like a kid, right, straight out of school to do your social media or your marketing or whatever, right? When you're paying them, like, say, £10 an hour, yeah, but they'll take 8 hours to do what I can do in 1 hour. Yeah, it's false economy, like, you know, because it's all about clever systems and processes. So you can pay me an hourly rate. It's probably 4 or 5 times their hourly rate, yeah, but I'll get it done in an hour, and they're going to take 8 hours. So actually, you're paying a £10 an hour. You're paying them 80 quid. And you're paying me, say, £40 an hour. You know, you're saving yourself 40 quid.
Yeah.
You know? But people will do it all the time. You know, I don't get it. I don't get why someone takes somebody on who's so inexperienced. It takes forever. Like, I taught one of my customers how to update events on their website, WordPress, and they started doing it themselves, and they took an hour to do while they were paying someone full time, and that's all they did. Was load events on their website. Like, you know, it's just because she was a technophobe, she didn't know how to load the events on herself. So I taught her, and then she was able to free up 15 grand a year and have the event done in just an hour of her time. Like, you know.
You know, I had an example of that this morning because I got a friend who have shown me how to get into my LinkedIn Sales Navigator and actually create campaigns in there. And I've just saved myself almost £2,000 a month before COVID. You know, and money that I didn't have, that I was getting nothing for. And it's like, wow, that's such a simple process. And, you know, and I think a lot of the problem out there is that people are afraid to educate themselves also.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing, is that people are afraid to educate themselves on what are the easier things, you know, or afraid to dish out and have those who are incredibly, you know, experienced and professional at doing it in order to cover those parts of the business for them. A lot of people are afraid to delegate. You know, that's a big problem in business also. I have found that when people are employing people that are let's say a low intensity profit to that business. So they seek value doesn't actually bring anything in. That's usually because the business owner is in the same place themselves.
Yeah, yeah. Well, fear stops a lot of people doing all sorts of stuff. It's the reason why I'm able to usually excel against most people, is because I don't have fear. And I'm a lifelong learner and I don't have fear. You know, to me, I would never, like so many people, like you say, they won't take somebody on because they're in fear that that person's going to overtake them or whatever. Whereas, you know, to me, the way I look at it is, well, if somebody overtakes me, they overtake me. But if I need them to help me to grow, then I'm going to use them. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm lucky, if you like. I've been blessed of not having too much fear in you know. I say I've never really been frightened of anything, and there's only one thing that makes me a little bit nervous. That's claustrophobia. Other than that, I've never been frightened of anything in my life, like, you know. And I think sometimes you've got to, like, some people are frightened to make mistakes. You know, well, you know, mistakes are just lessons, unless you make it twice and then you haven't learned the lesson and it's a mistake. You know, so that's the way I look at it. So every mistake you make the first time is just a lesson, like, you know. And ultimately, you shouldn't make it the second time if you've learned the lesson, if you understood why you made that mistake. And to me, life is about learning. I've been lifelong learning all my life. You know, I remember when the internet first started, I used to ask Jeeves, and now I ask Google for anything I don't know. I ask it. I get people, they contact me and they ask me certain things and I don't know, and I just go, why haven't you just Googled it? Like, you know what I mean? It's just that mentality, like, you know. Some people just don't know how to improve themselves or make themselves better. But you know, I've constantly learned all my life, and I think that's why now I coach and I mentor and I teach and stuff, because you know what most people who learn a lot through their life realize is that they're much better off by knowing all of that stuff than they were before they didn't know it. So why not share it to other people and let them know it and benefit from it too?
Isn't it crazy though that that button is missing in us, that we are actually better off by knowing it, and then until we know it, we didn't realize we were better off. It's like, how come we weren't born with that sixth sense?
Yeah.
Or so we were, but our parents removed it from us. I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, well, I was listening to, I listened to a lot of audio books on YouTube, you know, and podcasts and stuff. And I was listening to one, I think it might be Grant Cardone or maybe Brian Tracy. I don't always do one whole one. I'll flick in and out of different ones and back in and stuff. Yeah, because that's the way I like to do it, like, you know. And anyway, he was saying, out of all animals, human beings are the only ones who don't always grow to their full potential. You know, most animals will grow to the level that they are capable of. So trees will keep growing until they can't grow anymore and whatever. But the majority of human beings, I think it was Brian Tracy actually, majority of human beings stop way below their potential, way below where they're capable of growing to. And to me, that's a shame. Like, you know, if you're capable of so much more, then why not push for it? Like, you know.
It is. You're right. It is a shame, and I believe also that, you know, a lot of us, especially in the world of business, not using a fraction of our intelligence or our intelligence ability. You know, we're so caught up in being loyal to past disappointments, which is restricting, you know, forward decisions, that we're not utilizing the most, I'm going to say, organic of ingredients, like, you know, our ability to, the power of meditation. You know, in business, it's only now business people are realizing how important it is to meditate on a daily basis. Use your mantras. You know, mantras are massively important, because that is your subconscious workout every day, using your mantras. You know, and these things,
affirmations and gratitude and all that as well, and writing down your goals and goal setting and visualizing your goals and tying emotion into it as well, so that you get the body wanting to follow what the mind wants to do.
absolutely, you're so right. You know, and you know, I fill in my vision form every night, 5 days a week. I meditate 5 days a week, and I also do my mantras every day. And they're no longer something I have to consciously think about. They're a big part of my life. Myself and my business partner and wife, Deborah, we spent an hour and a half meeting this week, fine-tuning our mantra for the next 120 days. You know, and that's hugely important. And this isn't something that, you know, I made up. I learned this from my coaches, my mentors, and the people that I, you know, were lucky enough to shake hands with, who are hugely successful in their field and in their life.
Yeah.
And mean that they are substantially rich, Mike. You know, I mean, you don't have to be rich to be successful.
No,
And this is
success is whatever you want out of life. And if you want a great, work-life balance, or you want great health or fitness or whatever, then success is whatever you want,
yeah.
But I'm lucky as well. I've always had a winner's mentality, and to win, you want to learn off the best. And so, like, when I started my personal development journey, I thought, well, I might as well listen to the best people on the planet. And that's why I love Interbiz, for bringing some of the best people on the planet to their masterclass events. And, I've listened to, the best people in their field, and that, if you want to be the best, you've got to learn off the best, haven't you,
And it is, like I say, and it's great now because there's no boundaries either. And people were afraid to learn for lots of reasons, academic, weaknesses and things. I have a huge academic weakness. I'm dyslexic, so for me, school was a difficult time, So, but now you've got so much audio out there and so much visual because of YouTube and the audio. And now learning has become so easy to where it was, and there's no given mindset that's out of reach of learning anymore.
No, and I was academic, but I got too much energy to sit down and read a book, but I listen to audio constantly, when I'm out on my bike, I'm listening to audio. When I'm in the car, I'm listening to audio. If I'm cooking in the kitchen, I got audio, you know what I mean? There's no excuse for people not to get information that's going to improve their life into their head, in order for them to then write it down on paper and create action points and goals towards achieving it. There's no excuse.
And that's what I'm loving about this time with you is that, we've headed down this road where we're looking at education and we're looking at development. And, over the next 10 years, and I've said this many times and you would have heard this, is that soft skills is going to be the new currency in business. And that is all about self-development. But self-development in a way where you understand the people that are buying from you, working with you, loving you, caring for you, you are caring for, we all know that, a success in a business starts at home first and then becomes successful in a business because it's all about the person. So, again, when you look at the soft skills, we look at the Brian Tracy's of the world, amazing professors in soft skills. That's what he is. But he's taken that soft skill into, then we could say, a very logic subject matter, sales. Because logic is what sales are, but it's the quality of the soft skills of the person that makes our sales so fantastic and sometimes so mind-blowing. People struggle with sales because, picking up that phone is like chewing on glass. Yeah. I hate it.
But that's because they're doing something they don't believe in, usually. Most people are doing something they don't believe in, which is, if you listen to Dr. John DeMartini, who's on Interbiz tonight, I've never been a fan of motivation. I motivate other people. I've never needed motivation because I've always been doing what I wanted to do. So I wake up motivated. And actually, if most people are doing what they want to be doing, there's no need for the motivation sector. It's just, because once your values and your ambitions and your goals are in line with what you're doing, then you just wake up positive every day. But there's so many people out there not doing that, and that's why the whole motivation industry exists.
Yeah.
So ultimately, they need to be, if you wake up every day and you're dreading doing whatever you're doing or going to wherever you're going to go to, then you've got to make a change because you've only got one life. So do you want to, you're guaranteed to get to the end of it with regrets if you ended up doing something you didn't want to do forever.
Absolutely. And you're right. If you go back and you say about, about the motivational industry, well, that's the whole knowledge industry is that it's coming to its peak. And it's going to change so much in these next 10 years where I feel that they were going to take what are the best of the last perhaps 100 years from the knowledge industry, and it's going to be refashioned to fit the millennials coming through. We got the post-millennials coming through. It's going to really fit to refashion into their mindset because these millennials coming through are amazing thinkers. And they're not interested in the doing. They're just big thinkers, these guys. And that's what I love. I think that the whole knowledge industry is going to change massively over the next 10 years. Because it's got to accommodate, the synthetic digital industry. So
I've been teaching older people than me, really, older entrepreneurs, how to embrace technology. And soon I'm going to be teaching younger entrepreneurs on how to embrace communication and, handshaking and, all the stuff that I did years ago before we did the technology. Like, that's the way I see my business going, is that once the older generation of, the say 50 to 60-year-olds, are all retired, and there's not those people that need hand-holding through technology again, which a lot of them are going to need rapidly now because they've decided to embrace the technology, but some still haven't embraced it, still won't, and will be retiring soon. But then, I'll be getting older then, another sort of, I'm 42 now, 45, 50, and then I see the market for me then is actually just teaching people how to speak on a phone, how to ask questions, how to shake a hand.
You're so right. I mean, it takes me right back. I have two daughters here. My eldest one, 20. We went through a handshaking workshop only a couple of weeks ago. So I'm actually teaching her now. Now, this is what a handshake feels like, because they are so limp. These 20 shakes, they shake your hand and it's like, what, if I got like poo on my hand or something? If I just burnt you, because it's so limp. So I was like, some teacher saying, now when you go in, because you put into it. And she was telling me then, that she went for an interview. She said, Dad, I've got to practice my handshake. It's just surreal. But on the back of that, she phoned me the other day. She says, Dad, someone's at the door. I said, well, answer it. But I don't know who it is. I said, well, you find out when you answer it. She's 20. She says, oh, I don't know. I said, well, download a frigging app on your phone which says how to answer the door. I said, and let me know where you're going.
Search it or watch a YouTube video.
Then she texts me, she says, oh, he's gone now anyway.
Might have won the postcode lottery, but she was too frightened to answer the door. No, but that's when that is actually, because I'm about spotting gaps in the market, and I see that gap coming. Like, you know what I mean? I see that gap coming. Telesales, how to conduct a meeting, face to face, all that sort of stuff. That's where the gap's going to be coming soon. It's not big enough at the moment, and the guys in that space who need that help haven't got the budgets right now. But as soon as they got the budgets, I'm going to be in there getting it off them, because they're going to need it, and I'd love to help them, get better at being human, if you like. But also, what you were saying about the 20-year-old kids there, the daughters and stuff. Well, we already had tough handshakes because we was out playing all the time anyway. Like, so we already knew how to grip things, and we used to play with balls and sports and all the rest of that. But the kids these days, they're on apps and they're online and they're on games and stuff. So they need to get a bit of power into that grip by going out and doing something, living a life, and and that's one thing which I think has happened a bit, with some of that generation is during the lockdown, because they've been locked in, they've wanted to go out and go and explore and stuff. So hopefully they'll start realizing that outdoors is good. But mind you, a lot of the teenagers are just in their bedroom, on TikTok.
They are. Mike, the boys look more like girls now. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and I'm a big. My girlfriend, my daughters have boyfriends and things, and I said to Deb, man, boys look more like girls. They fluff with their hair and they cream up and all this kind of stuff. It's like, not a wrong thing, and I'm not sexist or anything in any way. It's like, but lads, toughen up a bit, get a bit of broad shoulder, get a bit of crap on your hands, and give a good handshake. A man hug. Freaking have a man hug. Nothing wrong with a man hug. Grab him, give him a big tap on the shoulder, big hug in. That's a man hug. It's good for you. It's healthy to do it,
For a man to be manly and a woman to be womanly, but I think everyone these days, everyone's frightened to be one thing or the other. You've got to be neutral in everything, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'm
more traditional that way. Like a man to be a man and a woman to be a woman, like,
But you only got to see the questions on application forms these days, when you ask about the sexuality, man, there's a whole range. It's not just man or woman anymore, it's like it's a whole range of everything. But there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's great that people can express and we can have this kind of choice, whether it's exaggerated or not. We can have this choice, but at the same time, it's like, let's not take away the actual physicality of the togetherness of what it means to actually work with someone. Whilst we are really pushing hard now this digital world and creating, putting the world on a pinhead because it's that small, but let's also remember the power of of handshake, the power of a hug, the power of just face-to-face saying to say, you know, Mike, you are bloody good at what you do. You're amazing at what you do. That share of gratitude and taking that gratitude. So many people give gratitude back where they say, oh, you know, Mike, you're brilliant. Ah, I know, mate. No, well, you should say, well, yeah, of course, thank you. I'm aware of that, and I appreciate you saying that. That is just also, you know, it makes me feel better about myself. It's important that we enjoy our bragging rights to other people whilst people brag back to us. It's, you know, these things are become sort of fashion. It's surreal. But I think, yeah, the importance of that physicality is also important. Even though I don't want face-to-face in my office, you know, I'm happy doing remote.
No, but you know, yeah, I think there's room for everything. I'm a Libran anyway, and I'm about a balance in life. I'm not neutral though, you know. I think you can have a balance in life without. I'm much more like I'll go on the pop all day, yeah, and then not drink for a week or whatever. You know what I mean? That's the balance. Not neutralize everything, so there's no balance. You know, you're just in the middle, and there's not one extreme or the other. You know, it's like, you know, you can both be, you know, manly and strong, but you can also be sensitive and emotionful and whatever, you know. You don't have, but there's different times that we can be different people, but we don't have to sort of like say, well, you can't be manly and you can't be womanly and you can't, you know, care about the environment and you can't not care about, you know, and we all got to fit in the middle, because that's just like, we're all just boring, neutral beings. And, you know, I love the extremes of people, and, you know, I love very feminine men, and I like very strong women. I like them all equally the same. It's down to us all to be however we want to be, but neutralizing everything and just making everything, you know, taking off all the sides of everything. And that just, to me, it just sort of makes the world a less interesting place, like, you know.
I love this conversation because there's been so many edges to it, and then we've ended up almost kind of debating it. It's been fantastic. I love it. I really do. But I think, you know, as moving forward into the year now for me and Deb, and into, you know, Accolade Executive Business Coaching, for us, it's really about how we can become a bigger part with our clients' businesses. That's where we go in now, I think, over the next 12 months, is becoming more of a, I suppose, not a familiar face, but more of a face that's employed into, I suppose, our products, our contracts, rather than just be a contract. That's where we're going now over the next 12 months. We're really excited about it, Mike. You know, it's a change, because for 16 years, I've been that person that's dropped in as a stranger, done what I've needed to do, left, and then come back as a stranger, you know. And now, like I said, I'm kind of done with that kind of having to reaffirm trust with people. And I just want to be more planted now, I think, for the next 10, 15 years moving forward. And I'm excited about that.
Okay, good. And you say you teach soft skills. What are the main soft skills that you teach? What are the main soft skills that you get asked to teach at the moment?
I think that the most important soft skill that we get to teach is, I'm going to say, awareness. Now, awareness is a very overused word, just like, you know, oh God.
A bit like empathy, yeah? A bit like empathy as well.
Yeah. I mean, success is a very overused word. It's stretched so much, but awareness for sure. So really what awareness does is, so when we go in, we look at, so let's say we've got a group of salespeople. So you're a salesman, you'll know this. So we got a group of salespeople. What we do there is really create, first of all, get an understanding of each person's fear of sale. Because even if you're a salesperson, there's going to be, because what we find is, I think, oh God, it was a while ago when I did work with the last sales team. So there's this chap, he would absolutely be flying. And you would see, you know, he got into this energy where he was really, really doing well. And then what he does, he get to a point where he's just set back. I've hit my target. Now I'm okay. I'm done. And that's actually
driven, but his targets are too low.
Yes, in that sense, yes. Look at you. Once a leader, always a leader, isn't it?
Yeah, I can spot that a mile away. No, because some people, they'll work like a dog till their target and then just switch off. So you've got to push that target up, keep them striving. A lot of people, their targets are set by their environment. They're set by what they think their target should be, rather than what they're capable of. And actually, what you should set your targets is what you're capable of. You know, so. Yeah.
So yeah, so what we do is we look at where are those stop points. And I'm not talking about targets, but that individual, there'll be it's like when you roll a ball on a straight floor, you don't realize it started slowing down until that point that your eye sees it, even though it started slowing down way before then. We work on that way before then of that person. Because what it'll do is there's triggers in us, triggers and traits in us, money blocks in us, sales blocks in us, business blocks in us. We work on that part of the person as to, okay, let's really look at that given 1% that he started stopping on. When the company recognized it, maybe 30% he started stopping on, if that makes sense. So that's all about soft skills. That's all about intent. That is, if we're going into a business, generally what we'll do is we'll look at how it is each person is getting the best out of the next person. So effectively, if I'm working with you, you don't want to be looking how you're getting the best of you, but what are you doing to get the best out of me? And we really dig into those layers and fine tune that. So we create what we call the edge of brilliance. That edge of brilliance. So it really elevates then the quality of think. So, and what that means then, so everybody in the business has a seat value. So let's say you're employed in the business and you get paid 80K a year. So for that 80K a year, they've employed you for your past experience for 80K, not for what you've got right now. So that 80K, so now you have to give back 250K's worth of ideas in order to increase your seat value annually in our business. Otherwise, they're losing money. So our job is to go in to work with individuals to increase their seat value. The seat value is their current salary that's paid for the past experience. So how we increase our seat value is we work on the value, the fitness of they think, how they thinking, what are they thinking, and how then they are creating ideas, values. So we have exercises that force an individual to think in a way they never used to think, because their job is to bring back double your salary in ideas. Yeah. That's just ideas, not just actions. Your actions is what you're getting paid for past. Double the salary and ideas to that business. So you've got a team of 10 that get paid, I know, £1 million in salary, then they should be bringing in £100 million worth of idea value.
Yeah,
we make that happen.
Okay, good. And there's another Brian Tracy, I think it might be Jim Rohn strategy on that as well, which is if you sit down and you write 20 ideas down on a piece of paper and you pick the best one every day in a level of something you want to do to become more successful in whatever you're doing, if you implement that one every day, then by the end of the year, you've implemented 365 new good ideas and strategies to help you achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. And if you do that, constantly forever, you'll always be way further off and way more developed down the line than you would be now. And that's something I'm about to just implement, because I only learned it yesterday or the day before, but I'm an ideas person. So I like the idea of that, because I know I'll come up with some gold if I sit down just for 5 minutes and write down 20 ideas every day, 20 ideas how to, become a global speaker, 20 ideas how to make my podcast get more downloads, 20 ideas how to, get more meetings with people, wherever, it's bound to happen, isn't it? You stick 20 good ideas down, there'll always be one gold one, But
the thing is, also I absolutely agree, because I do in my vision form every night, I do an idea that I created in the day, and then a new idea for tomorrow. And so I do that daily for many, many, many months or years, actually. But what we do in the business is that they understand these ideas there, Mike, but what they don't know is they don't know how to implement them into a process where they actually generate then and build on that bottom line. That's what we do. We build the formulas so they can actually put these processes in. So it's not just the leadership team, but there are groups of people then that are increasing their seat value every year.
What you do is quite similar to me. I do that a lot, either myself or for other people. I teach them systems to follow for marketing so that they can get a lot more out of their marketing, so because it's all about a system that creates lots of action and activity, because you can have the right idea and the right plan, but unless you actually go through the right idea and the right plan with the right actions, which following a day-to-day ritual or system, yeah, then it's just ideas, isn't it? Like, but I'm conscious of time because I know we both got other things to do. So how do people get in touch with you, Paul, if they want to find out more about you and get involved in what you do?
Happy days, yeah. So our website is accoladeacademy.co.uk. Of course, email paul@accoladeacademy.co.uk. I have a mobile 07403787454. Facebook, Paul Rees Accolade. LinkedIn is Paul Rees Accolade. You'll find me out there. I've got my arms spread out all over the place there. So if not, just drop me an email. I'll always get back to you guys for sure. Yeah, it's been amazing, Mike. I've loved this time with you. I knew it was going to be a bubbly time because of who you are as a person. I've only met you these last couple of weeks, but thank you ever so much for giving me your time and your space.
No problem, and thanks for coming onto my podcast. And if you've got any contacts in the States or anywhere at all where they'd like to come on my podcast and have a chat with me, I'm always looking to reach out to more and new and interesting people. So bear that in mind. If you said you do a bit of work with people in the States, so I'm trying to become a global speaker, so I want to be known by as many people as I can on the planet. So yeah, thanks very much for coming on. I knew it was going to be a bubbly conversation as well because when you get two balls of energy pulling together, it creates another third, compound effect ball of energy. So yeah, keep up the good work, and yeah, I'll probably see you later, I guess, on the John DiMartini event. Yeah, John DiMartini's awesome. I love John. So Dr. John. So yeah, looking forward to that. When I was at a Real World event with him last year, and that was a really good event. So yeah, thanks for coming on. Have a great day. And there's nothing else left for me to say other than have a great day. I know I will. And thanks very much for listening.
Bye, handsome man.
Cheers. Bye-bye.